Welcome to Talkin the Gridiron, your ultimate destination for all things NFL. We're here to deep dive into the heart of football, breaking down the action, the strategies, and the stories that make the NFL so electrifying. From the Sunday showdowns to Monday Night Magic, we're covering every touchdown, tackle, and timeout. So grab your game day snacks, settle into your favorite chair, and join us as we navigate the highs and lows of the gridiron, where the game is always on and the conversation never stops.
Good evening out there, Variety Sports Network fans, Talkin the Gridiron fans, football fans. We're here with you. We're here with you to vent. We're here with you to hear whatever you got. Comment in. You get your teams dominating. Let's hear about it, Vikings fans. Your team's sucking like my team. I want to hear about it. Let's go off. They're sucking like another team. We're going to get. I want to hear about it. So that's what we got here, Talkin the Gridiron. Yes, we've got the W in many ways there. Then we got. I want to hear the comments as well. Talkin the Gridiron is here, and we have, of course, Terrell from Realism Sports Talk and Jimmy Pilato, as known as the Italian Stallion, down there today. Terrell, how we doing, man? Thanks for joining.
I mean, I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be happy wearing this lid right here. Still in my fairy tale. You know, my Mets lost, but that's okay. Don't pinch me because I'm still feeling really good right now.
That was a hell of a game. I was watching that one underneath the Broncos game at the bar that I was at. That series is going to be electric because the Phillies. That's a bomb squad. That's a heavyweight title fight where nobody's backing up. We're standing in the center of the circle and we're going at it right now.
I think the Mets had your producer, right? He's back in the day. He was the Mets fan there with it. I think I think the Mets might have blew that one along the way there. We'll see there, guys. Jimmy Pilato. You got the rally cap on. If we were baseball here, that's how we would wear it.
It's
right?
not a rally cap.
I know it's not.
You got to get the movie reference. The movie reference.
Hit me. How are we doing?
90s baseball movies, like late 90s, Major League 2, when Rick Vaughn, the Wild Thing, loses his stuff. You know the fanatic that's sitting out there in center field that got famous in the first movie, and then they brought in the crazy uncle from Christmas Vacation, and he was Rady Quaid. And he was the guy, and he's like at the beginning of the season, like, oh look, I got Joe Burrow coming back, and Jamar Chase T. Higgins is going to be around for another season. We were just in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, like we've done all this great stuff. It's going to happen. And then like preseason, and they suck, right? And he's still trying to stay optimistic, and he's still trying to go through everything. Like, come on, once the regular season starts, once the real games get going. Okay, I know that the first part of the season, but the season doesn't really start till, and then by the end of it. It goes all the way till the end of the movie, but he's just the vile thing. I feel fucking sick to my stomach. I did 6,846 days, 18 years of NFL fandom to a franchise that I've got nothing in return. Had to sit through coach after coach. Right now, being absolutely just. It's laughable. It's laughable. That is the exact way the Bengals should lose that game. One interception. Up until that point, the only turnover in the game. Your defense can't stop anybody in the second half. You let the Ravens tie it. And then when you get the turnover, you run it 3 times. Let alone you have a quarterback that just threw it for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh, no, he threw a pick, so we can't run it. Let's go ahead and let Evan McPherson kick a 53-yard field goal with a rookie punter as our holder. It all makes sense, doesn't it? No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense why I'm not from there. I'm not from there. I chose to go out there. That's why I said that 18 years goes back to the 2005 season. 2005, I was a very young football fan trying to get into what am I going to do on Sundays? Who am I going to watch on Saturdays? I don't really have a college team because I just really enjoy watching college football. I chose the Bengals because of guys like Carson Palmer, Rudy Johnson. It was like the upstart. I felt like I like to be the underdog. I like the underdog. The Broncos at that time were kind of in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff. Josh McDaniels turned me off of it. I don't know why I've done what I've done. Like I'm so sick and tired of being so damn loyal. I'm tired of thinking about the fan base that hasn't had anything. Like I'm sick and tired of sitting here defending what I'm seeing. So until we get the coaching staff out of this situation, until we get the ownership situation and some sort of management, the boat turning in the right direction.
Oh
no. Oh no.
Oh no! Is that? Oh no! Oh no! We have a heel turn here.
Kiss my ass.
Oh my! We have it, Terrell. Wow! Wow! The Bengals have officially done it. They have driven this man insane. I mean,
like they say on the fantasy football show, dude's like, "You need to chill, bruh. You need to chill, bruh. Are you serious? Are you serious? You're blaming all these people and all these different things. It's your ownership that never has spent any money all through those years. And really, has your organization ever been accused of all these accusations of sex things and racist things and all that? My organization has went through all of
I'm
these
not
things.
from. I don't have any kind of loyalty there. My loyalty was given.
What I'm saying is, I've had to deal with these things. I deal with these things. You name guys like Carson Palmer, who's done some things. You know what I'm saying? You had a quarterback. Now you've got phenomenal, should be a Hall of Famer if he continues with his career, in Joe Burrow. Are you serious?
It's Zach Taylor. It's Marvin Lewis. Zach Taylor, Marvin Lewis. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it because those guys will continue to have 15-year leashes where we're just going to be in the same situation where we go 1-5 and push for possibly a wild card.
It was Denver going to do. What's Denver going to do?
I lived here. I'm from here. Look, I'm a Colorado native.
Yeah, I give it to you.
My tie.
That's
my tie. I don't give a shit.
I want to go here with it because Jimmy, that was well done there. I like how you did that. Well set up there. I get I get the frustration. I get the emotion. I had it as my first game of the day here with it, and we could talk about some of the points there with it. Besides your Phantom, that was good. And Bronco Nation, we're going to get to that a little later with it. I like that. It is frustrating when your team loses the way your team did today. It can make you go a little crazy at times, and I get what you're feeling. Coming down off that type of loss, up by 10, Terrell, that game should be taken. That game should be had. You have the offense that's dominating on the field. You have Burrow there, and then, like Jimmy said, they throw the one interception at the time. Of course, the Bengals would do it. I as much credit as much blame as the Bengals do have, though, Terrell. Like if I'm just looking strictly at this game, I thought the Ravens. I don't know. Like I'm just saying, like at some point they have to take the game too. It's Lamar made some plays out there today. I mean, he made some great plays. And so I don't know. I get Jimmy's frustration from that. When you have a receiver get almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, you should win a game. But the Ravens, though, did show why they're the Ravens, and the Bengals showed why they're the Bengals. And to his point in that right, to his point, that's what it is. They showed why they can't finish games historically, and the Ravens usually do in the regular season. That says, don't you agree with that, Terrell?
I mean, it's all about money. It's all about money. I've said this last time I was on the show.
Chase going to get paid now?
It's all about money with the Bengals, dude. Everything's about money. Like you're talking about, you got a rookie holder for the kicker and that's because there's money involved. You got both your receivers out here showing out, doing all these things, 200 yards and all these things in Joe Burrow. But there's no money invested in other places, like the defense giving up so many plays and offensive line making Joe Burrow scream everywhere else. Yeah, it's all about the money going from Carson Palmer, going to all these things, Ocho Cinco. I mean, it's what it is. Terrell, they're not going to overspend because they don't have to.
You gotta understand what I was saying there. I was going back to the very first point where I decided to give myself over to that team, and that gives you the timeline of everything that I've been through. Because within that time, I've had the 2005 playoffs suck when Palmer got injured. The 2015 playoffs suck when Burfict went crazy and hit Antonio Brown. Like I've had these different major points in my life where the Bengals are about to start to get over the hump and I'm about to start being able to reap the benefits, and something always happens. And this just feels like I'm so tired of being embarrassed by a team that I have no real reason to be loyal to. I have no real reason to care about as much as I do. I took the thing off. It's not like I'm not going to sit here and not watch the games. I can sit here and say that I'm not going to give myself, I'm not going to give my airtime. I'm not going to give time on my show now moving forward. They're an afterthought. They're 1-4.
Well, hold on. Where does 4? I want to go, Jimmy. I want to stick with the game for a second. Where do you think you texted like kind of the group there about that they were kind of used the word a little Poseidon there with the play calling
soft.
at the end. And is that the part where you're frustrated? Is like you have a chance to put it down and they give wimpy play calls. That's where it sounds like
wimpy offensive play calls at the end of the game. The overtime situation where you don't gain a single yard, you actually get pushed back. But then also the play after you miss the field goal, which bad exchange, tough special team situation. You guys all have one job. You practice that all day while everybody else is going through the grueling stress of practice. That's all you practice, and you couldn't get it done. But after that play, Derrick Henry takes a pitch and goes 60 whatever yards down to the 9-yard line, set up Justin Tucker, who's the greatest kicker in the NFL. I know that he struggled this season, but come on. You set him up with a 21-yard field goal to win the game in overtime. The Ravens didn't even – you could see it. They didn't even panic. When they had that turnover, they're like, oh, they're at the 30. They're at the 30. They're not going to go any further because they're not going to call any plays that are going to threaten us. They're going to run 3 times in the middle out of shotgun and not be able to move us. And Roquan Smith is going to just defend everything right in the middle of that defense. It was the Ravens played that perfectly and knew exactly what they needed to do. And the Bengals, unfortunately, this has happened multiple times, but they still don't recognize when it's going to happen. Like they still don't see it. Oh, maybe I should be a little bit more aggressive on this one because you know what? Last however many times we've done it and I've played it safe, it hasn't worked out. Yeah.
No, I think for me, like hearing your frustration, it does remind me a lot of kind of me as a Raiders fan. Like it does have, I feel the venting in there. I can feel it and I feel the passion. That's why we do the show here on a Sunday night. And as much as I know you're saying I'm going to be a Broncos fan, I know you're working through those emotions. So we'll check back in during the week.
I'm a very mentally unstable person. I teach 12-year-olds. I teach 7th grade middle school. And I'm going to be on fall break in Las Vegas next week. So I might be fucking happy and go, oh, hey, Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. They beat the Giants. I'm back on the train.
I mean,
we might be doing a whole different show next week.
Do it, Terrell.
It's gonna happen. I've denounced Washington. I can't even count how many times. Okay, I can't even count how many times I've went through all these. I can't get a field goal kicker. I can't get a quarterback ever. We are up by 20, and I'm still nervous that we're gonna lose. I understand your pain, baby. I understand your pain. But I guarantee you, by next week, after your game, you will have your Cincinnati stuff back on it, saying, hey, man, we're like one game out of the playoffs in the wild card. We right there. Burrow is still playing hot. He is on fire the last 3 games. But don't forget, before all the overtime, Burrow was the one that threw the interception.
That was a killer. Yeah. That was the killer.
He's the quarterback out of the two. He's the quarterback out of the 2 that didn't read the defense.
Yeah. You can blame all these other things. You can talk about his 5 touchdown passes and all the things he looked great doing. When the game was on the line, he threw a pick. When the game was on the line with Lamar, he made some play where he's running out of bounds, stiff arming people, pushing him to the ground twice.
Man, you got to make that play, Hubbard.
These kind of things.
So frustrating because there's nothing you can do, and honestly, it's very admirable to see what he's able. The slipperiness, you should not be able to run away from Sam Hubbard like that. Sam Hubbard is able to take down 99.9% of the world's population when he gets that close to you, and Lamar Jackson just stiff-armed him not once but twice in the same play and put him on his face. He's like, oh, no, you want some more? Not pet.
Before I move on here, I got to say, I came away from this game. Actually, I know the Bengals did their thing the Ravens impressed me a little bit. I don't know what it was. I know the Bengals, you could say, are not a good team and stuff like that. But the Henry factor, I'm starting to like a little bit more with them as they move on into the colder months here a little bit. I kind of like the way the element he gives them. Jackson still, as Jimmy always puts out, he's going to be the wild card come playoff time. Can he make the plays like he did today? We'll see. But
he ran a really clean 2-minute drill today.
He did.
And his no huddle offense. He was not just handing the ball off or hitting the tight ends. He did throw a lot to the tight ends because they're really good. But Rashad Bateman has a really good connection with him. Like I see the Ravens quite a bit. I know that they're really good. Like I said, Roquan Smith, Matabike, that center of the defense is fucking tough. Kyle Van Noy was AFC Player of the Month for the first month of the season. They're a good team.
Did you guys notice more of Mark Andrews' sarcastic tweets today about fantasy football?
Hey, you should have had 2 touchdowns.
I noticed there was a lot of those this week with it. All right,
would have helped me out. I have him I started him over Kyle Pitts.
Mr. Pitts there with it.
It worked out.
Jimmy, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate that part of it. That's why I like doing the show with you, is because we can kind of talk with that. We have some fun with the conversation, but there's some real kind of fandom here that people that don't maybe follow it as close as we do don't feel like that. Like, you do want them to win, and it does get frustrating when you're like, I feel like I could coach my 7th grade team to not do these things. So, like, yeah, I get you. That's what it comes down to at times.
It's crazy. We won 52 to 12 over the weekend. Like, I can.
Yeah,
we even had a couple mental errors. That's why they scored 12. That's the first team that's ever scored a touchdown on us this season. Like, come on.
Well, should we go to Terrell's Commanders here? Should we go to them? Daniels is just on. Is playing right now. I mean, I'm going to skip game of the day. I'm going to go to best of the rest because, I mean, he's been great for you. And at some point, you said they were going to win the division, but I do think I'm trying to like gauge with rookie quarterbacks. It's tough for me. I hate going all in on him all the time. But the one thing about this guy that seems to be a little different early on is his composure is it's at an elite level. And the guy throws could he already be one of the best deep ball throwers in the league? I mean, he is on point. I saw some crazy stat where it was like first 4 games, highest QB or whatever, stuff like that. He's like killing it everywhere along. So, I mean, they moved to 4-1 in a division that with the Eagles not necessarily playing with the Cowboys, and we know the Giants, it's like, you're right. This is a chance for the Commanders to really win this division. I think that's kind of where, we kind of right before we got on the air, I was like, I feel like some things are kind of weird this week that we kind of got some decided. And Jimmy, you brought up like, yeah, we got some things decided. I think I've decided, Terrell, I'm with you. I think the Commanders they're here. They are. This is a winnable division for them.
Very winnable. Very winnable. And who would have ever thought that saying that the Washington football team is going to be the most stable organization in the division? Nobody would have ever thought that, ever. But we are. We're the most, if you look at it from top to bottom, we might be the most stable organization in that division. We already know about the Cowboys. Everybody's on the hot seat. People getting money, whatever. The Eagles can't get along. Coach is going to get fired because the player never loses. You know what I mean? The Giants, Daniel Jones is Willie or Willie now. Who knows? We know what we got right here. We have a franchise quarterback who's intellectually and just ready for the moment. He builds everything. I was talking to my son earlier, and I said I played the Washington defense in fantasy. And usually you're like, whatever. But he walks into the locker room. He instills that confidence into everyone. Like, we got that guy. So we think we have a chance. And that's what it is. He's just giving everybody a belief that, why not us? It's not too big for a moment for me. So why is it too big a moment for you guys? And I'm with it. I'm with it.
I mean, you can see I got the deep ball up on the screen here. That's as pinpoint as it gets. I mean, he was open, but I mean, he's not missing them, and he's got a lot of them. I mean, you mentioned the defense. Do you trust them enough? Like, are you in on them yet, or are you kind of still feeling out the defense? Where are you at with them?
Well, I mean,
they played the Browns today, so I know that Browns they're the Browns, right. But how do you feel about? That's kind of sometimes when I've watched them, I still feel like that's an area now where just how do you feel about their defense?
Well, the back end always makes me nervous. But if our offense can perform like they're doing, which always makes me nervous, like, can they continue on this road that they're doing? You know what I mean? That's what makes me nervous. I would love to trade deadline to get one of these veterans either at the back end safety spot or top tier corner that's on a team that's not doing much or whatever. I would feel a lot better adding that piece on the back end. We got the with the Alabama boys up front that's doing their things, and the offense. I hope they can do these things. I mean, Jaden would have had another touchdown on a perfectly passed to Terry McLaurin. That was, it was perfect. You know what I mean? That's how precise he is.
Yeah,
that confidence just makes me confident. I know it makes the locker room confident. And why not us? If not us, who else in the NFC?
I'll be honest. I wish we had I know don't judge me, America, but I do wish we had the other logo there. Just as I'm watching you, but I wish you guys had that kind of old mystique still there with it. But it is what it is. Yeah, exactly. I know.
Woo pig.
I'm a hater.
Woo pig.
But but I just think that you guys are got to be the best. One of the Jimmy, I got to be right up there as the best. One of the best stories, Vikings Commanders, right in the NFL right now.
Vikings and Commanders are interesting because those are two teams that are very similar. Like, I didn't expect much from them, but they are overperforming, and it might not be like overperforming. That might just be who they are because some teams are able to gel, some teams figure it out, some teams click, and the right guys in the right place. Ask a Viking fan before the season when they're thinking J.J. McCarthy is going to be their starting quarterback. Would you be okay with J.J. McCarthy getting injured and starting a 7-year vet in Sam Darnold? Hell no. Hell no, I would not do that. And now you look at it and be like, that dude is balling. That dude is doing the right things, not making mistakes like we've seen a lot of quarterbacks do in the past. I would say that there's a lot of that going around with I would say Commanders. Right now, it is a defensive question, but your quarterback, the poise, and it seems like it is like a situation where, they have a lot of other guys around him too, like, Robinson, Eckler, McLaurin. It's not just Jaden Daniels that they're relying on, but he's probably the one that they get the most out of. He's the one that they get the most from. He's the engine that gets those guys to step up and be the players that they could have been their entire time in the NFL that we haven't seen them live up to their potential to. So the Commanders are a team that, continue to build. It's funny because it's the team that they were based on in the replacements, but it's very much like, Falco, the first week they lost. Second week they won, but they shouldn't have. The third week they're like, okay, we're humming. Fourth week they ended up, making the playoffs, beating Dallas, the world champions in the Washington Sentinels. So I do have faith in the Commanders. Again, wide open. That division, that division right now, I would say that they have as good a chance as anybody.
And it's crazy. I got first time here with 4-1 since 2008. The Browns just continue to be a disaster. I feel like we just keep beating a dead horse with Watson every week. I can't make them loser of the week this week again. It'll be my third.
Why would you say it like?
Beating a dead horse? What, is he not awake during the massage that time? Is he asleep?
Sorry, Terrell. I had to get one in there. We had to Jimmy got a couple in last week. I had to get one in this. Jimmy was at it. I had to get one.
I do not recall. I do not confirm or deny. I'm the Italian stallion. This isn't Jimmy.
This is not with it. All right. So your Commanders continue to play well. And the thing that if I was you too, that I would enjoy. They're obviously when you win, it's exciting, but they do play just a much more pleasing eye of football to watch.
Yes.
You're not like 10-9, yay. It's like, you actually have some guys that are out there running around, throwing things. So I think that makes it more exciting. Something today that also caught my eye as I was watching the games with my son over at our local pizza place, Papa's Pizza. They got all the games on. And my son, Xavier, in 8th grade, goes, "Hey, Dad, I think Allen has a concussion." And I said, "No, just let's wait." He did, but they gave him that smelling salt, and he got back. He did at some point. And I don't know, they end up pulling out the win again, the Bills today against the Texans. That caught my attention, that game as well. The Texans continue to be just.
Oh, and Darren.
He went off because he said the Bills won. The Bills didn't win, bro.
Yeah, I guess his Wi-Fi decided, that's not going to happen.
That's why they lost, because he wasn't supposed to be playing because they had a concussion.
The Bills didn't win, Darren. The Texans won.
No. What I was saying, the Bills, that concussion. My son was over there talking about that, and he goes, "Dad, they got." And I was like, "Oh, he'll be out for the game." And then, sure enough, he enters with the smelling salt there. The Texans pull it out. So, what did you guys make of that game between the Texans and Bills? What do you think, Terrell?
I thought it was very entertaining. Very entertaining. Me and my son are watching the games, looking at fantasy scores, obviously. Yeah. And we're like, well, who the hell is Josh Allen throwing the ball to? Because ain't nobody getting the ball. And I don't know what they were doing. Kincaid's never around. I don't know why he's not a focal point right now, especially after last year, and especially with the injuries that they have. And if Devontae Adams wants to go anywhere and try to win, you need to go to Buffalo there, Devontae Adams. Hell with the Jets or the Saints or anybody else. Go to the Bills, because Josh Allen needs somebody. I know Diggs is happy to get a win against his former team. I get it. Kudos to you, Diggs. But you're a prima donna that's not going to win a championship either. And Josh Allen deserves it because he's a man. Josh Allen's a man, and he deserves to win because he puts everything into it. Devontae Adams go to Buffalo. I thought it was an entertaining game, though. C.J. Stroud's just blessed with talented players everywhere. But why does Cam Akers never get the ball much? He was doing well with 8 to 9 carries, and then he stopped giving them the ball. I don't know.
Did you guys were were you a big Diggs guy for the Bills? Like that was kind of part of the storyline. Terrell, are you a Diggs guy? No. Okay, so you're not
For
there.
the Vikings, I was.
Yeah. Okay, because I felt like
Before
that's
everybody knew.
Well, because he was playing with not those great quarterbacks. When you went to Josh Allen, it's still Josh Allen. You know what I mean?
I just thought that storyline was kind of overhyped this week a little bit. That was kind of one I was like, nobody cares about that. It's not like Diggs is like
It was
the
more
best
Josh Allen versus CJ Stroud because those are supposedly like that was a couple years ago the guy that has turned himself into a perennial contender and last year surprise. See if you can follow it up this year. I will say about the Texans once Collins went down with the injury, their offense kind of went absolutely silent. Not to say that they're not going to figure it out because they figured it out last year without Tank Dell, but that was, the lack of being able to adjust in game. That's going to be something that has to be addressed. D'Amico Ryans has to get with his coaches. Like when somebody goes down, because it is the NFL, gentlemen, and we will have injuries all up and down the lineup. We cannot, I've seen it with teams that I've coached. I've seen it with teams that I've played on. When we don't plan for somebody to go down, that is the week that they are going to get rolled up on in the most unassuming way and be done for the next 4 weeks. And you got to figure shit out because it's not like the season's over when somebody gets injured. They don't pause everything and go, hold on, time out. We don't got our number one wide receiver, so let's go ahead and pump the brakes. I guess he'd be number 2 because if I say number 1, Stephon Diggs is going to come find my house.
But how important is Nico Collins? Who would have ever thought Nico Collins
I know. That surprised me.
Going to be this influential with this organization at all. At all. Yeah. You can lose Tank Dell. Stephon Diggs wasn't there last year. You didn't play every running back in that position over and over again. Joe Mixon, he's gone. Nico Collins is the figure that keeps it all together. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I think that he's the guy that's kind of assumed a role. And there's a few guys like that around the league that it's cool to see that it can still happen because now I don't know. I know that you guys are I'm not going to say this in a negative way because I am a heel, but I'm not going to be an asshole. You guys are a little bit older than me, so you watched a little bit more football. You've seen more guys come into the league as maybe a little bit more of a screw up or maybe a little bit more of a project and be able to turn himself into a leader, and it's kind of cool to see those things happen because I think that's where you see it the most right now is Houston because everything that they went through with that whole Watson situation, the Bill O'Brien, the losing draft picks, the investigations, being shitty as they were for the last however many years, now you have CJ Stroud coming into his own, Nico Collins becoming a receiver that is the driving force of his team, and I can't let us forget about on defense, Will Anderson is, they've got a lot of guys, a lot of pieces on that defense that are stepping up too. It was not just an offensive team last year. They were able to stop people too when they needed to.
The one thing too is like that was a clutch field goal. 50. You get to 59. That's a pretty clutch field goal.
59. We could get a 53-yarder. I'm sorry, I'm not a Bengals fan. Not we. I'm sorry. The Bengals couldn't kick a 53-yarder.
That was a clutch.
Don't throw an interception and you don't need to, Burrow.
No.
You get nervous tick. It's
don't twitch.
In my head, like
not twitching. Don't twitch. The Bills. They were 3-0, Terrell. Now we come back to 3-2. They had a couple tough games, obviously. It's not like those are easy wins to get on the road there. They do play a big game next week for me, that kind of at New York or versus the Jets. I'm going to see if it's at New York. Yeah, it's at New York. So they went 3 in a row. This is 3 straight road games for them. They go at Ravens, at Texans, at Jets. So this is a big stretch. It's kind of a weird stretch. Very rarely do you get that in the NFL. So I'll be curious if, for me, it's just kind of a storyline game. Like if they lose all 3 road games. So I'm kind of interested in this game next week and how the Bills handle it. Because Bills Mafia, I'd be nervous if you're losing that one after seeing the Vikings performance or the Jets performance today.
The big time storyline is that's the Devontae Adams game. Whoever wins that game, that's where Adams is going.
Interesting. Do you think? See, I was thinking about this with the Raiders standpoint. Like, is Adams because what are the teams involved? Usually Al Davis. There usually was a rule where he never would trade him to an AFC team. That's not the case anymore with the Raiders. They'll trade him to wherever. They'll get the best package. Do you think they'll get more than a 3rd-round pick for Adams?
From Buffalo, maybe.
Anybody. You think they'll end up with?
Buffalo is the team that maybe, and actually Washington might if we continue on.
They can't get a first for him. That nobody would give him a first for Adams.
I don't think
he would leave.
It's not right. Yeah, you can tell that's why teams, even if you do want to trade, tell you to play it out and be, keep it under wraps, because if you can keep it under wraps, I can use your talent instead of just your talent and your attitude. Like if you wanted to trade Stephon Diggs mid-season, nobody's going to be biting with he's swinging with a big first-round pick hook because, I get his talent and I get what he can do for my offense, but I also know that if that motherfucker doesn't get the ball 30 times in the game, somebody's going to get their ass kicked in the locker room, and we might win by 30 if that happens. But, that's just – it's weird. It's the sociologist in me. I love seeing all the different kinds of players and the different kinds of personalities and guys that make up different teams. And certain teams, you think these guys should suck or these guys should be really good. Like I look at the Jets right now as a team that I thought should be way better than they are with Aaron Rodgers. I thought this was the missing piece. I thought this is what they didn't have last year. Am I missing something?
No, and it looks the same. It looks the same. Yeah, it looks the same.
Aaron Rodgers is a running back killer.
Breece
Hall can't do nothing because Aaron Rodgers has to throw the ball. You're at the half-inch line. At the half-inch line, prima donna Aaron Rodgers says, "No, I need to pad my stats and throw it into the end zone so everybody can say, look at me." Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Breece Hall needs to get the ball.
It'll be interesting what the Jets do with that move. With them moving forward too, is like, as we kind of get in just real quick with them as we're talking about them is, Terrell, you mentioned those teams might be the Bills and the Jets might be involved in a trade. There's other teams, obviously, your Commanders, the Steelers you're hearing about, the Saints, of course, with Carr out there. Like I said, I think if any team gives them a second, that's probably the team that they go to. I think that's the high, because I'm always amazed at these players that we consider good, and they will be good probably when they go to another team, that they probably shouldn't get more. But then you also see the downside of these players. Like I always try to remind people, like for every player that was a stud like Moss, they got traded in, and a few other examples, most of the time there's a massive drop off. Like who was the guy for the Cardinals that wanted to trade, and then he eventually got Hopkins, right? Or the Texans,
Hopkins, yeah.
So
Hopkins went to Arizona, and then now where is he still in Arizona? Or where is he?
Titan. But and I'm not saying Adams is there. I'm just saying like sometimes you can see both ways with it, and that's why it's like, oh, Adams should be a first round pick automatically. But I don't know. I think the Jets are the team I would think, because he
wasn't even a first overall pick himself. I know that shouldn't. I know that he's a good enough player good enough talent to warrant it. But if you're going based off of, if it's a true stock.
But how desperate are the teams, Jimmy? That's going to be the key, right?
He is in his mid-30s. And he's, if you watch that Netflix show, he is not interested in building anything. He wants to be placed. He wants to be placed. Yeah, well, he has a Taco Bell in his house. But he wants to be placed in a Ferrari. He wants to be the chip in a Ferrari's engine. He does not want to be the Hemi that you got to actually run a little bit and make sure that you got everything moving with your stock car. Like that is not what Devontae Adams is interested in at this point of his career. That's why I think the Jets, or I didn't think about the Bills earlier, but maybe the Bills. But the Bills might also end up being a total disaster, because Josh Allen still mashes all the buttons and still makes wild plays that you're like,
who's he throwing it to?
Yeah. I know he's not throwing it to
anybody.
He needs a guy. Mac Hollins.
No, he needs a guy back. The Bills need him the most. I think you're right. I think the Bills need him the most. Like that, or the Jets. The Jets are the other team, right? With the Rodgers connection, that makes the most sense. But I don't think the Jets would. I bet the Jets are like, we'll give you a fourth rounder, and the Raiders are just waiting. I bet they're just waiting for some team to go like to a third.
Would it just be a draft pick, or would there have to be a player involved?
There might be there's a lot of salary there, so the Raiders, I hear, might have to pick up some of the salary too there, which isn't.
Mike Williams can't pay anybody.
Mike Williams, give him him. You ain't doing that with him anyway. Go, Mike Williams.
So are we still impressed with the Vikings too? Like they go to 5-0. What I mean by impressed is this: of course they're 5-0, they're undefeated. I'm impressed. What I mean by that is like there are storylines in the NFL where there's teams that get off early to the start, but like, gentlemen, there's still a lot of season left in the football, and we can they could go to, next thing we know, they're 6-4, right? And that's still a good start to the season for them. I would say better than I thought it would have been. And so like, I'm kind of trying to still figure out the Vikings a little bit. I know, Jimmy, you were impressed because they did win in London, and that is definitely, whenever you can get a W in a whole other country, it's a good thing. But I mean, all I know is this in the NFL: just get wins, just win every week. But I still
Every
don't. I'm
week
going to be
there's a
honest.
chance.
Vikings Nation, I don't trust you yet. I'm sorry. I don't trust you
Here's
yet.
why. You want to know why you don't trust them? Because they have not hit that wall of adversity of the NFL season yet. Because they had their adversity early enough that they were able to kind of prepare that, okay, JJ's hurt. We're not going to have JJ. This is Sam's team. Let's get Sam as prepared as we can for the start of the season, and we're hitting the ground running.
Yeah, I
there
like that.
will be a point where somebody else important has some struggles, goes through a slump, maybe is out for a part of a game, a week or two. They have not gone through that yet, but I will give the Vikings this. I do like Kevin O'Connell and what Kevin O'Connell did his first season as a head coach with Kirk Cousins. I know that it didn't work out into the ultimate success that they wanted, but I have enough faith in the relationship that I see right now and the adversity that they have overcome so far. I just think like that's why people have that hesitancy with the Vikings right now, because there is still that other, there's a lot of, this is only quarter of the way through the season, technically. We're only part of the way there.
And it's Sam Darnold. And I don't think America believes it, right?
Halloween, baby. Halloween's coming up. You going to see them ghosts?
No. Y'all are missing all the point, guys.
All right, give it to us.
You're missing all the point. You
give it to us.
Sam Darnold already went through the ghosts and doing all these things. Then he's with a stable organization that fit him in the 49ers, where he actually was right there. They felt comfortable with him starting when they thought Purdy was going to be hurt. They felt confident. And when he did interviews, he said, I feel like my old self. I feel like I belong. That organization put something in Sam Darnold. And that's why the Vikings took him as a security blanket. Also, you talk about they don't have adversity. Justin Jefferson, we thought he was going to miss some games. Jordan Addison missed some games, and then he still got legal problems. Oh, did we forget in a year where the tight ends never exist? TJ Hawkinson, which is one of the top 3 tight ends in football, will be back very soon. That team spent a lot of money on defense, and that's what's winning the games is the defense is holding it down.
Brian
you know what
Flores
I mean?
controls
This team has already went through some adversity.
What do they call their defensive? They call their defensive philosophy
Aaron
something.
Jones is gonna get hurt. Probably.
Yeah.
Are we nervous about him getting hurt? No, because the foundation's already set for the Vikings.
Brian Flores deserves a lot of credit because he's a defensive coordinator that's figured out that he makes everybody. He made Aaron Rodgers really confused. Nobody knows. It's like educated, controlled chaos is like the. I don't feel like that's what they were calling it earlier when I was watching ESPN, but whatever. That's what I'll call it. He has 9 guys up, and he's going to drop a lineman, a linebacker. Nobody actually knows. And we all know that he hates quarterbacks because of how he treated Tua when he was head coach in Miami. Like that dude has no problem making quarterback life miserable.
There's a lot of storylines right now, week 5. I just feel like that, especially with the Adams thing kind of thrown in there. Not saying he's, like you said, not a superstar anymore, but still, if he goes to the right team, could make a little bit of a difference. Buffalo. I almost wonder. I know Minnesota, they have Jefferson. There's certain teams where I think they could be like good fits, but the salary won't allow it. I know that. It depends if the Raiders picked up. Hey, we'll give you a 2nd round pick, but the Raiders, you got to pick up half the salary. I mean, maybe they can get. That's where if you're the Raiders, you get dicey with it. I got something from Charles Woodson later on the Raiders. If you guys haven't seen it yet, that pretty much sums up my fandom on the Raiders. There, Jimmy. We'll get to that in a little bit. There with that.
I forgot to like Charles Woodson.
You got Charles. What?
I'm gonna talk to Charles Woodson. Oh my God.
When?
I gotta talk to you after the show about this. This is crazy. You're gonna go crazy.
I would. Yes, let's talk. We talk about during the Raiders when we talk about the Jimmy's Broncos and my Raiders in a little bit here. We can talk about that.
Let's go Broncos.
Should Flacco be starting for the Colts going forward, or is Richardson I know like Jimmy got a lot of heat for it. Flacco blew it. I thought the Colts had this one in the bag. The Jaguars finally reverse course, and they're able to come back on a team instead of always losing a game by blowing it. I still have no faith in the Jaguars. Still, I know my guy Tyler kind of still believes in him a little bit, but I'm not there with it. Flacco, though, is interesting to me. I mean, like, they scored 34 points. I mean, that's a pretty good. And then Richardson would go 7-11 last week or whatever it was before he got hurt, added that 71-yard touchdown. I think a lot of Colts fans are kind of stuck in the middle on this one. Terrell, I know kind of where Jimmy stands on this. I'll get his thoughts on the game overall. But where do you kind of stand on Flacco starting for the Colts? Are you a Richardson guy in that regard?
Well, as a fantasy football superstar that I am, I have Richardson as a starter on 2 of my teams. I also picked up Flacco as my backup quarterback.
There you go. That was
In the fantasy world, Flacco will fit in.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Colts fan, be realistic. What are my expectations? Do I think we can win a Super Bowl? Honestly, Colts fans, no. Do I think we can win a division? Possibly, maybe. I don't know. But I know going forward, I want to see if Anthony Richardson can be something down the line to lead us to success. Kind of like what I was talking about with Washington. My goal wasn't for us to make the playoffs and win the division. It was about the progression of Jaden Daniels and to see him develop. Now, granted, he's developed way faster than I could have ever imagined. But if I'm a Colts fan, I'm looking at it the same way. Wins, lose, whatever, it doesn't matter. I want to see Anthony Richardson out there getting better. Oh, he only throws 33% right now. I want to see him get to 45 by the end of the year or 48 by the end of the year. Those are the kind of things I would rather see than us getting second place in the division and we had Flacco. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I think that's where some Colts fans are coming from. I think it's a whole different story if you actually believe in Richardson and think he'll be actually a legit quarterback and he stay healthy in that regard. I mean, Jimmy, I know you feel probably Flacco gives them the better chance to kind of compete for a playoff spot now. Do you feel that way still?
Because there is less of a long-term plan in Flacco, I do think that they should still play Anthony Richardson because you already had the season last year where he was injured. I know that he got injured, but like, okay, you're injured and we're going to sit you for the rest of the season and then we're going to make sure that you're totally prepared to come out in your sophomore season. Like they've already done that. You cannot repeat the script on that because you repeat the script on that with a first-round pick and the fan base can see directly, blankly through that. And this is a fan base that now knows what bad quarterback play looks like. They were spoiled with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. And ever since then, like, yes, Joe Flacco will win you more football games. And I do think Joe Flacco has a good chance of leading this team to a possible division championship. But that leaves you in the third year of a contract on a first-round pick that you still are like, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And then you get in a situation where the Giants had to pay Daniel Jones after they declined the fifth-year option, and now they wish they didn't decline that fifth-year option, just like the Dolphins.
The dude has no idea how to celebrate a win. Did you see that today? Did you see that? He's like, they won, and he's like,
yeah. He's like,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands? How do I talk? So this has got like the Colts. I don't believe in really either of those teams, but I do find that storyline kind of interesting as we're moving through the season here, where you have Richardson that just can't stay on the field right now, and then you have Flacco, the veteran quarterback that can just play forever. Apparently, right now.
Hey, Colts fans, he should have been 265 coming into the season so that he'd have a little bit more beef to take on these hits.
You did mention that. We were there with it. All right. The Cardinals. They get the win over the 40. Should we go there with it? I mean, let me get it off the big board. I actually wasn't. Let's see if I can get it up here. Let me see if I can get it. We got the big board. Get it up off the. We get the Cardinals stat here. I was.
I wish I had my Tillman jersey on right now. I do have a Tillman salute to service jersey.
If Johnson was here, this hat would be on right now. Because back in the day, I was always a huge Anquan Boldin fan, so I kind of liked them. And then the Fitzgerald era, and then, like you said, the Raiders sucked. So I needed a second favorite team for a little bit. So that way,
Pat Tillman. You're forgetting Pat Tillman, of course.
Pat Tillman, sorry.
The spirit of Pat Tillman was with the Cardinals today.
Not Jake the Snake. Yeah, they were, and it was the hottest game, like the hottest weather, like temperature-wise, that it's ever been at the Niners' new stadium. It started the game at 95 degrees. It got up to 101 around 3:00, and I was listening to the game driving home, and the announcer basically set it up to what was going to happen for the Niners. You could just tell by his voice that they were wilting in the second half. Basically, like they are getting absolutely whooped on the run. You can see with Connors after seeing the highlights.
Yeah.
He said in the heat, they're not dwindling. And he said an interesting fact. He said the Cardinals actually practice in the heat. They don't practice indoors. So they've been practicing 3 weeks in a row in like 110-degree weather. So I guess 101 to them is cool. And they got stronger as the game went on. Now, obviously, Fred Warner not being up to par with the ankle, you could see he was not Fred Warner today if you watched that. But the big turnover at the goal line was the killer for them. That's what cost them the game. But I know a lot of Niners Nation out here, that is the big talk, is they do not believe in the defense anymore. And that's what's been their calling card kind of over the years, and they don't believe in him at all. And so that, to me, that's new territory trying to take it in. Like, okay, this team you can't rely on to stop the run anymore. They're not without Greenlaw there and without Warner at full strength. No shock they devoured him the way they did in the second half. But Niners Nation, I mean, Purdy goes 50% as well. Like in his game too, he doesn't throw as well. I still don't. That's still not my concern, Purdy. But the defense would be a massive concern for me if I was a Niners fan and winning a Super Bowl. Massive. Jimmy, you got a thought on that?
Not on the Niners. I was going to talk about James Conner because with what the Cardinals are doing, and I give a lot of credit to the coaching staff, and I give a lot of credit to the fact that they kind of whoever leaked the details about that contract is probably still somewhere in a basement in Arizona getting flogged. Why the hell did you do that? Because that did so much damage and it kind of screwed everything up for a couple of years. But it seems like that's kind of been smoothed over. But what James Conner has done, if you know his story from college football, being running back at Pitt, overcoming cancer, which it's kind of an apropos time to bring that up. The guy that we normally have on the show, Jordan's also, he was on our show last week talking about his situation. But like James Conner going through that, and now you see that mental fortitude, and as he had some good seasons, good times in Pittsburgh, sometimes it was bad, but he was very consistent. And now he's brought that to a team that was like lacking any kind of mental identity and mental focus. When Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach, they were either red hot in September or they were like, oh, well, they're just throwing the same 4 passing concepts all the way through the rest of the season. And it's just the easiest thing to read. Like James Conner right now, and I saw him getting interviewed after the game when I was sitting there at dinner. Like that is a guy that I would give a lot of credit to the Cardinals, and I give a lot of credit for a performance like today. That's a once-in-a-lifetime comeback because they shouldn't have been there, like down 10 with that situation. It happens, but I did not expect that out of this Cardinals team. This is showing me that their mentality is very different than what I was expecting and what I actually saw up until this point.
The Niners are in trouble, and they are I'm not saying that it's not. And Jimmy, you're right about the Cardinals real quick too. They moved to 2-3. Everybody else lost in that division today. So it's not, this division is just not, and again, it keeps the Niners in the striking distance too. So if I was a Niners fan, I'm not panicking because the division is not, it's still there to be had. So you have it there. You got to get your guys healthy. But man, Terrell, where do you want to go with it? Are you more Cardinals or Niners when you watch this game? Where's your takeaway with this one?
Well, I mean, I said this from the beginning. The 49ers window is closed. Their window is closed. And they're frauds about lying about McCaffrey and everything else. And what they need to do right now is find a sucker team to go ahead and trade Deebo Samuel and his contract to somebody else, because I don't even know if he played today.
They shut him down.
He was on the field, technically.
I ain't seen him do nothing. I ain't seen him do nothing. They should have never spent that money on him, period. When it was him and Ayuk, who was going to get the money. And that's why they battled with Ayuk, and it took him 3 games to become Brandon Ayuk again today. You know what I mean? They just mishandled so many things as far as the front office goes, as far as paying the right people at the right times. And their window is closed. It's closed. It's closed. The only hope that they have is because the Rams can't stay healthy. But the Cardinals and the Seahawks are just, I think they might be better. I really think
I can't go there yet. I can't go there yet.
Because I seen Brock Purdy, you still got Jordan Mason. There was a time when Jordan Mason didn't even get the ball for like 4 series.
Well, then he fumbled at the goal line and blew the game,
okay,
though.
well, you fumbled at the goal line. Who hasn't fumbled at the goal line?
Well, it blew the game, though. It blew the game for it.
Sometimes it happens.
Oh,
if you play at the NFL level, you probably won a few games and lost a few games yourself.
I mean, those things
not a good time, though.
What gives you your best chance to succeed? Run the ball. You were winning the game. Like, you were dominating the game. You want to get cute with your little, Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. We want to make you a superstar so bad, Russell Wilson. We're not going to give it to Marshawn Lynch. We want you to be the superstar so bad, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
It's going to fail in their face, I'm telling you. Because next year they're going to overpay Brock Purdy this guaranteed $175 million contract, and it's going to be a Dak Prescott situation. Watch.
I still think Purdy's. I still kind of like him. I'm not as negative on you on it as him.
Well, you have Aiden O'Connell. Of course, you like him.
Of course, I like him. Screw you, buddy. Screw you, buddy. We had that.
So mean. But it's so true. It's so mean, but it's so true.
It is. I get it. But I still believe
like Carson Wentz before we got anybody. I was happy getting Carson Wentz. How'd that work out?
I just don't think. I just think that the Niners they threw. I think at one point it was like 18 throws for Purdy, 8 runs. Like you're right, they did force the hand a little bit today in that. The Cardinals, they get that great run by Murray, the second play of the game. That's like an obviously red flag there for the Niners. Again, Warner was a little banged up, so we'll see if that's going to make them better. We'll see what happens when Greenlaw gets back for them, but their secondary is probably not going to get much better. Unless there's something there that they get in the waiver wire late that kind of turns out to be a gem or something like that.
Hey, Brian, hit me up and I'll tell you what I want for Von Bell.
Von Bell.
I'll tell you what I want for Von Bell. I don't know what I want yet. I gotta sit down and I gotta think about it when I'm a little bit less. Again, I'm talking about Bengals. I'm not a Bengals fan. Fuck. Damn it.
You guys stop going back there.
Bengals fan.
Yeah, Bengals fan. Oh yeah, they were there with it. We got
it's better. Oh man, that feels good. Oh.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. They play Seattle on Thursday. And the other thing that some big news too with them is they lost their kicker in that game. He went for a tackle, and they cart him off the field. So who knows if he'll be there? It's like you're a kicker.
Messed around and tried to be a football
player.
Don't
go for the tackle, sir. Do not.
You messed around and tried to earn your respect of the teammates. No, just sleep in the bathtub like every other kicker in NFL history. You guys are not football players, but you're very important when we need you.
I like what the Cardinals coach did. I think it was about 8 minutes left. They score that touchdown. He goes for 2, knowing the kicker's out. Because I think he's realizing like we're gonna have to go for it regardless. And so they go that they get the 2 point, like just that aggressive. And there was a point in the Niners game. I don't know if you guys saw that where it was. I think they were on the 1 yard line. They passed the ball. They don't get it. I was like, oh, they'll go for it 4th and 1 at the goal, or just 4th and goal at the 1. They decide to kick the field goal. Jimmy, to your point. Kind of playing as a Bengals, right? Playing just to hang on instead of just you give 1 yard, just finish the job, get it done.
It's funny because wrestling season is coming up, and that's going to be a conversation that I have until February when wrestling season is over. Like you went out there and you just tried to survive for the 3 periods, and you could have taken him down and scored a couple more points and won, but no, you were just trying to hold on to your 2-point lead. You're trying to hold on to your 3-point lead. I think the Bengals did that too. I think they were fine with giving up that touchdown near the end of regulation. They're like, okay, well, we'll hold them on the next series. Our offense is going to score. Oh, shit. Burrow threw an interception. Well, fuck. Okay, we'll just give up the field goal, and then we'll win it in overtime. Oh, shit. We got the turnover. Oh, fuck. Well, we didn't get any yards. Okay.
I don't know if you
still on, dude. Wrestling.
It's Terrell, I don't know if you can make it up till
last night.
I don't know if you can make it to 3 a.m. last night, but that's basically you described my Cal Bears losing to Miami last night was let's play to lose. That's what we're doing.
Did you guys see Cam Ward? Did you guys see?
I watched the whole second. I watched the whole game.
No. Not in the game, Darren. Not in the game.
Sorry.
Not in the game. And we can't really necessarily talk about the situation. It was. I will give him this. Since they started that game at 8:30 because it was in Cal, then it technically did not break SEC regulations. But did you guys see his post-game interview? He had a receiver in the middle of his post-game interview, so they put the headphones on him with the microphone, like the broadcaster headphones, and the receiver comes up to him, and Cam Ward like loses himself for a second. He's like, "Yeah, good shit, boy," and then because it's the culture and everything like that, drops an N-bomb on national television on ESPN in the post-game interview, It was just, I saw that. I'm not saying anything on it because I obviously can't speak on it. I'm just saying like that was a wild game last night. And that was like the cherry on top of everything. The game was what it was. But then all of a sudden the clip is coming out about the post-game press conference. Like what happened?
What about the Vanderbilt quarterback? He's out here cussing the storm up.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That dude was cussing everybody out.
Wasn't he like the backup? Yeah.
Cussing everything.
He was the backup, and he had a full clerk. He had a clerk's moment. It's like, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you. I get you. We're on the same way, like Terrell.
Oh, that's great.
He's cussing everybody.
And then
obviously Miami's a bigger story than Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt.
That was a huge story. That's probably bigger even than Miami.
No, this weekend, yes. In normal circumstances, I'm saying Miami's the bigger brand, but Vanderbilt, and they also did you see they carried that goalpost like RIP to all the bachelorette parties that were out there this weekend. They had to deal with like the frat boys, like Commodores.
Jimmy over under in that Miami game what was it, 900 times we had to show Michael Irvin. Just saying that as a cat. Like, do we
Yo,
have
what
to,
was he?
is he
Some good stuff.
He was.
Good stuff out
he
there.
was-
Is he still on NFL Network? Is he trying to keep himself clean, or is he full shit and sharpening?
I think he went up to. I think. Okay, let me just tell you this. After going to that last A's game and crossing the bridge in the public, there's a lot of accessible things you could get there. So he might have been. There might have been some things there that he got there on the way there. He went a tightwad hill there. So all right, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, somebody Tyler, and I thought Dylan today. The Bears. I gotta, as we're talking about this game, what is it?
Better
Jimmy's
weapons.
Bengals. Who has better weapons, the Bengals or the Bears?
Not my Bengals. Jordan's Bengals.
Okay.
Jordan's Bengals.
Who has more better weapons, the Bengals or the Bears? That's what McGurk threw out to.
Who has more?
Who has better? He says better. Well, okay, so I look at the kind of the same. Let's put both those together, right? If you're the quarterback, who you want the 2? Does that 2 equal the 5, or how do you look at it? You know what I mean?
I'm taking Burrow, Chase, and Higgins over DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Swift all day long, and Caleb Williams all day long.
All right.
And I think that I know that they haven't played, and Chase Brown needs to fucking pick his feet up because, God damn it, dude, you're one of the fastest guys on the field. If you would just pick your feet up, like you could break some of these things and get some big ass plays, but maybe you're not scoring.
Brown, dude, relax.
I know. I just. Do you see how fast he gets that ball and hits the hole and then trips over whoever is in the hole? Like
he's Chase Brown, dude. Relax.
Who was the
bro?
I know. Look. I see. Like I got 7th graders. I got a 10-year-old that's playing up on my 7th grade team that picks his feet up better and runs over people better than what I see.
You got some weird regulations,
man. Dion all over that kid.
Give me your fake ID.
Give me
I swear to God, I will send you his Instagram, and you will be like, "There ain't no way." I guarantee you, he is a year younger than what the team is. He's a whole year younger, and he's a head taller. He's Samoan. He's Polynesian.
Yeah, there you go. That makes a lot of sense there.
I don't know. I've never seen the birth certificate. Was it written in crayon? Sure.
Careful,
Terrell, are you a Caleb guy?
I'm a Jake Daniels guy.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. Do you believe in John Hendricks? No. Do you believe in Caleb? Do you think that he's going to get the job done? Do you think like he is? I mean, 3-2 now. I think you picked him to make the playoffs. If I kind of remember.
No, correctly. I said they won't make the playoffs.
You won't make the playoffs. So Panthers to me it doesn't matter. But I mean,
he's okay. He's okay. Yeah. If I'm a Bears fan, I have high hopes because you saw a glimpse of something in your imaginary life that might be great for you. You know what I mean? You did beat the Carolina Panthers.
Congratulations.
The Red Rocket, who used to be a Bengal, losing and shit.
And a Bear. And a Bear.
Great job, guys. Great job. We beat the real Bengals. We beat them. We don't beat the old quarterback for the Bengals. We beat the real team. You know what I'm saying?
That would offend me. That would offend me.
And we don't have.
Would offend me. I'm a man of God. Did you guys see the jersey I'm wearing?
Hey, Jimmy, I if you noticed tonight on the show, we have had no reason to show any Sunday night football highlights up there. Usually I'm always good about throwing a few, but sorry, I don't want to get the kickers in the rain up there. So it's still 3-3 here in the second.
It's Pittsburgh weather. It's stellar weather.
I know out here I'm like dying. I was 101 today where I'm dying here. So I'd love to get a little.
Have you been changing? Have you felt fall at all, Darren?
I have not. It's been 90 for about. It feels like flat.
He's a Raider fan. He feels fall every week.
Oh gosh, I did go to church. I did go to church Sunday, so we did get the fall. I know, man. You said it. We got that with it. All right, on to the crap show, Jimmy. The afternoon delight here. I got it on the bottom here. So.
Sky rockets in flight.
Afternoon delight. We love it, people here. These were the games of the afternoon here that got the job done here with it. We talked about the Niners a little bit earlier. Surtain, 2 interceptions. What a beast. I will say that
100-yard pick six.
Yeah, that first one, small child could have caught that one. So that one I don't count as much of that one, but we got that with it.
A small child that returned it 100 yards.
Jordan Minshew was a small child that threw the ball.
Have laid the block, have laid the boomstick that was down the sideline that I was petrified was going to get called back because
I know I was watching it.
I had a receiver. Denver's defense.
That was clutch because hey Riley Moss too. I want to say something about Riley Moss because that was a hell of an interception.
It was
the blindside block. I unfortunately had to explain the rules because I had a receiver. I love this receiver. I have to say that first and foremost. He used to be a guard for me because when we were younger, we had too many guys and not enough. We weren't throwing the ball. Now that we're throwing the ball, we want him at receiver. He still blocks like a fucking guard. He threw a beautiful blindside block, perfect shoulder to shoulder. The only issue was that the defender did not see him until contact was made. So by the way that the rule is now written and by the way that everything is being officiated, I was like, listen, that was a beautiful block 10 years ago. Unfortunately, he has to see you coming, or if he does not see you coming, you have to hit him with your hands, or you have to stand there and box him out like this, which you could have done, because I will say this too. My guy is like 5'10", 5'9", 5'10", and the kid that he was blocking is like 4'8", 4'9". It was a size mismatch. It was everything, but I was like, that is a beautiful block. It was just the wrong era of football. I thought that was going to happen in that Raiders game with the pick six, because that was
it's
a
what it
boom
looked
stick.
like. I thought that game was an absolute disaster from a Raiders standpoint.
That was exercising some demons. That was because the Raiders have owned.
Yeah, and we blew it. We had an
Denver.
8-game skid against you guys. We had won 8 in a row against you guys. So you guys kind of got at the ticker here,
especially in Denver, though, because the Denver games I remember specifically because you guys would get up a lead and then we would leave. Like we
did today too, 10-0.
Everybody was probably thinking like, well, fuck, this is gonna happen again.
Yeah.
But that defense is what that defense is, and Gardner Minshew is who he is.
Yeah, because that was the play. That was the play. They would have been up 17-3. Hit Brock Bowers like he's wide the freak open, and you throw it like way over this head. You're up 17-3. Even if you don't, you're 13-3 in a rivalry game. You do not throw interceptions that go 100 yards, and then you win that game. And the one that Brock Bowers got the 57-yard touchdown, like honestly, if you watch the replay, it was kind of just a chucker up there type of play, and the guy kind of fell a little. Like it wasn't like
Gardner Minshew been that he doesn't get the memo. You don't throw to Patrick Surtain's side. You don't throw it over that guy.
No, you don't.
He
was wide open.
No, but he had 0 interceptions last season because nobody throws near him. And then we have one quarterback that goes, oh, well, PS2's over there. He's winning. Those are, by the way, can we just say those are some? I like the throwbacks. I like some of the jerseys. Some of the jerseys have been iffy. I like those jerseys on the Broncos way more than what they've worn all the way up till this.
Those ones versus the Jets, puke those out.
I don't like that. But I like the ones that they were wearing today. But like, Patrick Surtain's over there. I'm going to throw it to that side of the field. There's no way it's going to get intercepted. Well, it got intercepted twice, and one of them turned into points the other way, and that was the momentum shift of the game. That was what flipped everything over because then you got Bo Nix.
Bengals game with Burrow?
Oh, no.
He's not a Broncos. No, he's a Broncos fan now, so he's excited for today.
I'll take Burrow then.
I was excited for. I want to say this about just kind of finish my thought on the Raiders and we'll move on to the other afternoon delight games. Is Broncos 3-2 in the division. Not saying that they're going to win it, but they're still hanging in for that wild card position.
We'll have to see what they look like tomorrow because everybody knows that's the elephant in the room is what are the Chiefs going to look like tomorrow without Rashee Rice in the lineup? Are they going to, it's the Saints.
I still have no faith in the Broncos though. I just still don't. I know they beat the Raiders. They lost to the Jets on a field goal last week, and so I'm not saying it could easily both ways, but teams gain momentum. When they get weird, they believe in themselves. Weird things happen.
You got a coach that knows what he's doing, and it's not Nathaniel Hackett or Vance Joseph or Vic Fangio. I don't know what your guys' feelings are on Sean Payton, but I'm sure that you have your own feelings because he was in the NFC for a long time. So I forget because I also had that issue last year when I was dating somebody else and their family was a Vikings fan. It's like I fucking hate Sean Payton because of the Saints. I was like, what? Oh yeah, I forgot. They killed Brett Favre that year. That was definitely bad. This is the best coach team that the Broncos have had since Gary Kubiak. And they won a Super Bowl that year.
My best part of my
record. What's the Broncos
3-2.
What is the Bengals record?
1-4.
I guarantee you the Bengals will have a better record than the Broncos as of right now.
Wow.
I'm going to the game in Cincinnati. The Bengals are going out to Paycor.
I love it. He's going to Cincinnati. If you wear the Broncos uniform in Cincinnati, I trust you.
Jared, this was my thing. This was my thing. I was going to the Bengals game in Cincinnati because it was going to be my first time around my people. I don't think anybody's going to fucking be there after today.
They're not gonna be
Who's
there.
your
But you,
people?
hey,
You don't
you'll be
like
there.
them no more.
You'll be there.
They
You'll
ain't
be
your
there.
people no more.
My people
I
live
believe in
here.
him. I
My
believe
people
in you,
live here.
Jimmy.
My people
I
watch the show,
Right.
Terrell. My
I
people
believe in
watch
you,
the
Jimmy.
show and they like listening to me go crazy. That's
And
my thing. That's
and
my character on this show.
Then you guys did a
Bengals
great.
winning better record than the Broncos.
Terrell, I kind of like that as a pool question this week on
Yes.
Talking the Grid. I like that
Can
one.
we add the Bengals to the list?
No, well, we're not there yet on the show. Give me a few minutes. Can I get? Hold on. My best part of my day was this. I'm at Papa's Pizza, this little place I tell you to watch. There's this older lady with a Brock Bowers shirt on, and I'm like telling my sons, I'm like, oh, and they didn't have the game on yet, so I'm like, oh, 57-yard touchdown by Brock Bowers, and the lady turns around and she goes, "That's my grandson." I go, "Let me see some ID." I was like, that's what she said. Well, because I forgot he's from Napa, California, which is close. But in the not close, but in the area of where I live.
The dude is from wine country.
That's where he's lived, Napa, California. He grew up there. So I'm like, all these three older ladies, like in their 80s, no doubt. I just kind of like reading that out, got excited, and they all go like turn their head. And I was like, oh, we got some football. So I was like, oh, that was kind of a little rare story there. I was like, you want to get my son an autograph there with it?
That's okay. That's all you did? Shoot.
No, it was just kind of funny that.
Everything.
No. Can I interview you on Talking the Gridiron?
How young you are, sweetie.
We have this show called Talking the Gridiron, and it's for beautiful women just like yourself.
Yeah. Can I get Charles Woodson up here real quick? I hope it works because this is really how I feel as a Raiders fan with this stuff. Let me get this up here with it.
What's going on?
Just trying to figure out why we can't have nice things with the Raiders. You know what I mean? It's always something. I just think about over the years. Think about a guy like Khalil Mack. One of the premier pass rushers in the league, 4th overall pick. All of a sudden, we ship him out of the door. Last year, there's an opportunity. I don't know how real it was, but C.J. Stroud's the quarterback. He's sitting there at 2. Maybe we'd be aggressive and move up. We don't do it. And now what we have is a premier receiver in the NFL in Devontae Adams. We just come off a win where Max Crosby's not in, Devontae's not in, and guess what we're talking about? One of our guys wants to leave the team. So, it just seems like we're always in the sports news and media for all the wrong reasons all the time, man. So, as a former player, fan of the Raiders, I'm sick of it.
That's exactly how I feel. I'm sick of it. And he just summed it up well, though. They just don't make smart decisions, and that's kind of the bottom line with this franchise. They just continue to be a dumpster fire. And Terrell, I think it's going to take what you got now is a stud quarterback to turn it around. That's what it's going to take now for them to be able to get to that point. Giants beat the Seahawks today on a block kick. The Seahawks, bad loss when you have an opportunity to go there. That's now my belief in them is we're really falling after that loss there to Daniel Jones and the Giants. And then we have Jordan Love. He gets past. They get the W versus the Rams, like you mentioned. Terrell, which game stuck out to you? Seahawks or maybe the Rams? An opportunity for them as well with the Niners going down. They couldn't get the job done.
Oh, it's definitely the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks had a prime opportunity to do things because their loss was what? People forget they were undefeated.
Yeah.
They lost to the Lions in a super high scoring game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like they got pummeled or something. It was just they got outscored. How many times does that happen in a NFL year? You know what I mean? Especially as we go through the progression of a season, scores become a little tighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
the Seahawks loses to the Giants. That's humongous. And the way the coaching staff has been there the first time with Pete Carroll gone, they were high on Kenneth Walker III. I mean, did their wide receivers play other than Tyler Lockett? What happened? I don't understand.
DK threw a full-on tantrum on the bench. I don't know. That was one of the games I was on at the bar.
Needs to play. No offense to Geno Smith. Sam Howell is the reason why that they got him as the backup. Same reason they got Flacco in the Colts organization. Sam Howell play.
It's just gonna. Where do you want to go with that one, Jimmy? Which one do you?
I think that with the Seahawks right now, what they're doing with Geno Smith is because they see what's happening all around their division, and their coach has been good up until this point. Well, today you had the meltdown of DK Metcalf. You had nobody show up really. You had everybody kind of go away in the big moments, and your coaching staff couldn't hold you accountable to get all of those things going in the right direction, at least enough to win. There is no reason a Giants team without Malik Neighbors, and fuck, man, God damn it, why couldn't you be playing? Because I could use you. I could use you, and they could use you. They could use you on the field. That is where I'm like,
And they still won without him. That was the biggest surprise to me.
Perry.
Yeah. I mean, they ran the ball. If you're a Niners fan next week, that's the only thing you're thinking about is Maxon going off against that. When they're running back at 130 yards a day rushing, like that's probably where you're thinking, so I don't know.
It's a missed opportunity, but I think that this is
opportunity.
If they had a little bit more clarity from the rest of their division, because remember the Seahawks with the new coach and Geno Smith, like this was their ceiling. They were going to be kind of good against bad teams, good against good teams, and maybe sometimes win, maybe sometimes they blow it, sometimes they lose against bad teams, but they are middle of the road. But maybe with that young quarterback, maybe he can start using some of these weapons that they've drafted around him, because DK Metcalf is going to be there. Tyler Lockett has been there for a long time. You have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who could be a killer from the slot or that wide receiver 2 position if you can get the other guys going. But you have yet to figure out how to put all your choices in and use them in the right way. And you're running out of time. So maybe it is time to go to the backup quarterback, because you know what you're going to get with Geno Smith. You know that you're just going to be right there, and then maybe you make the wild card, maybe you don't, but you're just going to be hanging around. And I've been in that situation. I would rather see what I have in the young quarterback, because I would say that this has been the Seahawks story the last couple of years, because they had Drew Lock in their organization, and maybe you want to see what Drew Lock can do with this new team in a new place with a new coaching staff, but they never did that. They stuck with Geno, and they've been what they've been. We're either going to see them continue on this same path, maybe be a little bit worse, or maybe Sam Howell comes in and he can do some magic. Maybe he can work something.
And Jordan Love just to that game real quick. Like, I'm not saying I'm like always blown away by him, but I am always usually kind of impressed once in a while with him. Like just that they can, like, I don't know. There's something about him I kind of like as time's moving forward. It doesn't mean, I don't know. There's something about him I do kind of like about their game. But Terrell, the NFC North, the Vikings have thrown a wrench into that division. That division, like, they're 5-0. You got the Lions 3-1. You got the Packers 3-2. Bears 3-2. That's a tough division now. All of a sudden,
it is. It's a tough division, but
unless the Vikings, it will be interesting who comes back to earth there. If it'd be interesting if the Vikings can really push the Lions, and if that's the key, because the Lions were not expecting the Vikings to be 5-0 to start the year, and they're 4-1. They're right there with it, so they're doing their thing. It'll be interesting kind of see where that kind of lies with it. The game of the week. Dolphins did play the Patriots, and they did win 15-10. There was like kind of a weird ending to that game with the play in the back of the end zone there. I thought that it'll be interesting when the Patriots. My storyline of this is when will they go to May? If they do, like when will they go to him? I was surprised they didn't play him this week. I thought it was a good opportunity against the Dolphins, maybe, but maybe they're going to set it out the whole season. I don't know. I think May should get in though sooner than later.
He'll play next week.
You think so? Who do we cross off, boys? We have the Giants, the Panthers, the Rams, the Titans, and the Browns crossed off so far for not making the playoffs. I know, Terrell, you might be shocked by the Rams, but I think Jimmy, was that you that threw that one there? Or was that Terrell? Maybe we had a guest on that. I don't even remember who threw that one out.
I can't remember.
I know that we have added the Browns last week. Are we adding the Bengals this week, Jimmy?
Why ain't the Raiders on there yet?
I think
they're on there a long time ago.
Because the Raiders were 2-2, and they were.
And I am a fan. That is why we did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he has loyalty to his team, unlike some people on
this
show.
Stupid loyalty.
Terrell.
Stupid.
Is the Patriots on there?
No, the Patriots could definitely be put on there now, because the Patriots beat a bad Bengals team week 1, and that may be one of the 3 wins they get all season.
I think the Raiders belong on there too. I think that's definitely it. So Patriots, Raiders seem obvious. There's somebody else. I mean, it feels like a weird week. I don't want to overreact to it. That's why the Bengals, to me, I can't yet, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
But how?
No,
they're 1
no.
How? They're 1-5.
They're just too talented. They're just too talented.
Nobody in that division you can do yet. Nobody in that division.
I know. I'll give them this. It's getting
they
close.
Can win the division. They
getting
can still
close.
win the division.
It's getting close. I agree with you.
1-4 in our last 5 conference games. So it's not only division games, it's AFC games, and that's what counts the most for the playoffs when it comes to the end. We were 9-8 last year and didn't make the playoffs because we couldn't beat anybody in the AFC.
No, it's I. It's not me, Jimmy, anymore. You got to get used to that. Jimmy, how about the Dolphins?
The Bengals went 9-8 last season with Jake Browning, and they didn't beat anybody in conference, and they still lost out on the last playoff spot. So
Dolphins,
that happens
Jimmy?
again. Yeah, I think the Dolphins could probably go on there. I don't know about Tua's timeline, but if I'm going to be 110% honest, no, I don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that.
Jimmy, this is a big week. We added 3 teams. We're going.
It's normally Halloween. It's normally Halloween where you see everybody kind of figure themselves out. I think we saw a few teams figure themselves out already. And
I think
maybe we might have to end up. What?
What team has the most promise of getting better? The Dolphins, because Tua come back, right?
Well, I mean, if he does, which he's probably going
he has
to.
a chance to come back. Ain't nobody coming back for the Raiders. Ain't
all right,
nobody coming back for the Patriots.
Terrell, I'm not going to add the Dolphins yet. Then we're going to hold out. What
about the Titans? Because Mason Rudolph looked like the answer there.
Oh, the Titans could be possibly close to this list. They're getting close. They're
on the list. That's what I'm saying. They're on the list.
The Titans on the list. Yes. Sorry, they are on the list.
There's always a team that we put on the list that ends up going through, and I like Chris Long. I don't know how you guys feel about him, but I was listening. I saw a clip of him. He's the easiest guy to read lips in the NFL, and that's like his new favorite thing to do. He's like, he comes over to the sideline. He's like, I didn't even see the guy. It's like, well, if that's the reaction, and that's been like the quarterback that has the worst turnovers in the NFL up until this point, it's probably time to go with the guy who got his head smacked in with a helmet 3 years ago, 4 years ago, however long that's been. Like, that couldn't be any worse. And it turned out to be the best thing that they did all season, because they kicked the shit out of the Dolphins on Monday night when they did that. And the meme going around, Mason Rudolph, before the game, was in some Dolphins fans' girlfriend's DMs, and the Dolphin fan was at the stadium. He's like, honestly, I'd rather lose you to him than have the Dolphins get beat like this right now by him. So maybe you should respond, and he'll see it during a timeout or something, because I'd rather be with a team that wins than with a girl that's going to be hit up by Mason Rudolph.
Oh,
yo, Darren,
yeah.
A story about, like how you said about the women that was there, like, oh, that's my grandson.
Yeah.
When I was mentioning the Golden Corral, I was talking to this older gentleman, loud. We started talking about football, and I started saying different things. He's like, and I was like, I hate the Steelers, And he's like, well, Mason Rudolph's my grandson. And I'm like, yeah, man, whatever. And he's like, next time I come back in a month, I'm gonna bring you an autographed card and a picture to show that this is my grandson. Damn sure he did, and I still got it. So
maybe I'm gonna question that old lady. I'm gonna say, I don't believe you, old lady. You give me an autograph.
You come back to the pizza place next Sunday with all of your little friends, and you prove to me that you know Brock Bowers.
She's been there 2 weeks in a row. See if she's been there like for all the afternoon games. Let's see. That's where I go. Let's see if I usually go there for like the finish of the like morning games, and then kind of like the first hour of the end. So we'll see it. We'll see if they're. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Small world how you meet these people once in a while. Right? Yeah. All right, look ahead to week 5 as we got to wrap up the show here a little bit, or week 6, excuse me. Like I said, Thursday night you got the Niners at Seattle, Jacksonville at Chicago, Arizona, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Tennessee. A couple other ones that kind of catch my attention is Tampa at New Orleans, and then you have Washington at Baltimore. That's kind of that would be a good game as well. And then you have Detroit at Dallas. So those are some ones that kind of stand out to me. Your Bengals play at New York as well. So those are some games there.
Who's Bengals?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot. Who that? The Broncos, I should mention. No, it's good. So then,
the Chargers. It's a very pivotal division game.
And then Monday night, Buffalo at New York. We'll get into that in just a sec as well. So that's our little look ahead to week 6. The byes, Kansas City, the Rams, Dolphins, Minnesota. So out of those games, any one of those jump out to you guys next week? I feel like that Washington Ravens game, right, Terrell? That's got to be number 1 for you.
I mean, it's like every week Jaden Daniels like breaks some NFL record. It's like every week he's like, oh, look what he just broke. Then it's like, oh, he beat Joe Burrow as the LSU Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. Oh, now we just beat Kyler Murray as one of the most running quarterbacks. Oh, and next week he's going to beat Lamar Jackson as one of the top running quarterbacks again. He's just going to keep breaking records and beating people. And everybody that says that, oh, he reminds me of this, well, I'll beat him. Oh, he reminds me of him, I'm going to beat him too. Because we will beat the Ravens next week. Because that's why I said last week that the Ravens were going to beat the Bengals and get that big, high emotional division win and come back to reality and lose to us. Just like I said last.
I did lose to the Raiders at home too after kind of a similar situation after week 1 there. So you are there are some things there. That's a big game. Jimmy, any of those stand out to you? Next week you'll be in Vegas, right? Next
Yeah,
Sunday
no,
for this one. So, yeah.
I'm probably going to talk to girlfriend into going to Caesar's Palace for Sunday because we're getting in on – I think we're getting in on Saturday, maybe do like a pool and then afternoon in Caesar's Palace Sportsbook because that's one of my favorite ones. All the nice chairs. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of money because I don't necessarily like to lose money at the tables or in the slots in Vegas, and I've actually won on the sports bets that I put in out there.
There you go.
I like the Bengals, not the Bengals, the Ravens. Son of a! I told you it's toxic. It's fucking so toxic. If you've seen Monsters on Netflix, then I'm just kidding.
I'm watching that.
It's good. It's really uncomfortable. By episode 4 and 5, I was like so uncomfortable. But I like the Bengals and the Commanders. Damn it, I did it again. The Ravens and the Commanders game.
What?
The Ravens and the Commanders game because I said Jaden Daniels when they played the Bengals. That's why I keep doing it. It looked like a better passing version of Lamar Jackson. Now, I kind of hang my hat on if you get a lead on the Ravens, they won't be able to come back. They were able to do that today. They had the nice 2-minute hurry-up offense. But it is like, yeah, I know. They played a bad defense. I don't necessarily think that the Commanders' defense is that great, but what we said at the beginning of the show, the confidence is going to be there. It's a guy that, the Ravens' defense has a lot of holes. And if he's going to prove that he's a better passer, it's going to be against the Ravens secondary. Just don't make a dumbass decision and throw a slant backside when Marlon Humphrey is finally figured out, oh, they're throwing a slant. I'm going to hang backside, and I guarantee you throws it to this part of the field. Oh, look, it's right in my lap. Like, I didn't even have to go in front of the receiver to catch that interception. It's right there in my lap. Don't do that, and you'll be just fine. Like, that is going to be a game that's a big interconference matchup. It doesn't count for playoff tiebreakers or anything like that, but that counts at the end of the season if the Commanders keep on what they're doing and they do win the division like we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Terrell, is there a rivalry
it's a beltway rivalry.
Yeah, because you're in Virginia there. You're in Virginia. So it does mean a little bit more. All right. I like it.
Don't you guys both play in Maryland? You guys both play in Maryland.
It's beltway.
Yeah, right there. And I that's why. So to me, it's kind of like for you guys out there, that game means a little bit more. I would think a little bit there too. So and you guys have been down. You've been down. So this is your chance to kind of, as you're playing a little better here, to get to it there. Terrell, who do you like tomorrow? Saints or Chiefs here Monday night? They got the Chiefs are 5.5 points favorites. What do you like the Chiefs to get that W, or do you like the Saints to bounce back?
I expect the Chiefs to win because the NFL needs it. I shouldn't have said that. Oops. But I expect Derek Carr to have a great game because I know how much you love Derek Carr.
I love him.
And I think Derek Carr's having a great year so far, and he's going to bounce back from last week. He's going to have a great game. But them Zebras is not going to allow it to happen, sir. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes, undefeated. That's what's going to happen.
Saints are 2-2. They need this W.
Oh, we don't have anybody. Patrick Mahomes just makes everybody out of nothing. Oh, he's just like Tom Brady did. Oh, we need that so bad. That's our big time storyline. That's what they need.
I like it. Jimmy, what do you got? Saints or Chiefs? Is that that's definitely a little Brian spirit coming in with the Chiefs thing there. So that's definitely right. That's a little Brian Johnson spirit there. With
Brian needs to worry about some other things.
He does. I think that's where
played
he's
the
right
Chiefs. I've watched the team play the Chiefs in the big time afternoon game, not even in prime time, and the amount of times that they pan to that fan. They use those references. They use that song going into the breaks, the commercial breaks, even. Like it's totally and 110% embedded. And, it's just weird that they get this many primetime games in a row. They get this much of leeway from they have one of the better quarterbacks, but the offense looks bad.
Look better.
Probably the best. I have to say the best. Yeah. The best. Yeah. The best.
I agree with you.
The offense just hasn't looked great, but they are probably going to get – they take advantage of the plays that they need to. When the Saints make a mistake, the Chiefs have been there up until this point to capitalize on those mistakes. So with what they've done up until this point, I will say that the Chiefs will capitalize on those mistakes and get the victory and probably get helped out by, those guys in the stripes.
Real quick, do they cover, Jimmy? 5.5?
I don't think so. Everything has been like a field goal, 1 point, 2 point game. I see that it's going to be the same because the Saints will be physical, and the The Saints are a team that doesn't give a shit who the NFL wants as their pretty boy, the pony. They're like, I'm going to injure bounty. Somebody put $2,000 on the board. If I get Patrick Mahomes' ACL or his ankle, I'm going to go get that $2,000. Like, that's the Saints. It's not necessarily bounty gate anymore, but come on.
They're going to cover. Easily they're going to cover. Alvin Kamara beats up men. Kareem Hunt beats up women. They're going to cover.
They're covering it. Can we cover the 6-3 halftime lead here? That's what we got. What a barn burner out there in Pittsburgh.
What a boring game.
Hey, at this point of the show, I wouldn't be able to watch the game. It's almost ending right now. I'll get halftime for out here 8:15. I'm looking pretty good here to be able to watch a little. Well, it's actually less than that. It's actually 8:09. So we're doing pretty good out here right there. Doing time of it. Winners and losers. We're at that here. Who do we got for week 5? Winners and losers. I'll start with my winner of the week. We didn't mention the game very much, but I'm going to go give a little Kirk a little love here. 509 hits one of my son's favorite wrestlers. Little thing there with the Joe Hendry. Do I believe in John Hendry? If you know what we're talking about, then you know. Jimmy, I know, knows what I'm talking about. Terrell, I'm not sure, but it's one of the cheesiest things I've ever seen on God's green earth, but I love it now. It's me and my son, my 7-year-old, 8-year-old, we just always go at it about it. So, Kirk, you've provided a little extra entertainment for us. And shout out to a wrestler that not many people know with the cheesy look there. So he gets my winner.
Wrestling had a lot to do with this show this week because I channeled my inner Kevin Owens.
You did.
I watched the Seth Rollins promo after he betrayed the Shield. Like, it's about me. I'm tired of doing what everybody wants me to do. It's about me. And that's what I'm doing. It's about me. I'm tired of putting my faith in a team that just doesn't give me anything back.
So it
was a great year in 2021. It was a great year, but what have you done for me lately?
Who's your winner then, Jimmy? Not a Bengal? Come on, Jamar Chase. I didn't put him on there because the loss.
Lamar Jackson.
Wow. That's a first maybe on this show. You got to respect that. That's a first.
Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens because they handled themselves in a composed fashion. No, they handled themselves in a composed fashion. I said when they got themselves to overtime and they had that turnover, nobody panicked. They stuffed the run 3 times in a row. They figured they would probably get some sort of mistake on the field goal. They took care of business, and then Derrick Henry decided, nope, I didn't get to play in the fourth quarter because we were in 2-minute the entire time. Watch what I could have done the entire game. How about you watch what I could have done? You guys see the guy I knocked out with my hip last week against Bills on Sunday Night Football? Yeah, go try and tackle me. I saw so many guys fly past him today, making business-ass decisions, like trying to make it look, I'm trying to dive at his legs. You missed him entirely. You missed him by 3 feet. You were not trying to get in front of that dude. Tractorcito season is here. That was the introduction. That play in overtime, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, you beat up a very bad team in your division.
He made some awesome plays. I mean, he really did. He did make.
And also, by the way, what is he? Awesome. 6th player with 10,000 yards and like 15th player with 100+ touchdowns in his career. Now 94 rushing touchdowns, 6 receiving. He is the last, I think, bell cow running back that we'll see for a long time. I don't think that anybody's going to get the same amount of carries that guy's gotten in his career and amass the amount of stats. He's done the early part of his career. He had to learn it at the NFL level, but when he figured it out, those long runs against the Jaguars, the long run that we saw against the Bills last week, that is Derrick Henry's career. Like, don't get in front of him, and then if you don't get in front of him, he runs away from you.
Terrell, who you got for winner of the week?
Winners of the week is definitely going to be the Washington squad. Of course, we're the winners of the week. I mean, come on. Why
you beat the Browns, man. Come on, that was mess.
It doesn't matter who we beat. You know,
I got
the Browns might beat the Raiders, actually, and the Broncos. And,
hey, we did actually beat them.
I'm just saying. I feel like this is a big win for us because the Eagles are on the bye. As we see, Dallas is struggling. The Giants got a big win, but we already have the tiebreaker over them. So I feel like that's why we're the winner of the week. Because, of course, as the season goes along, I don't think the fairy tale is going to be so easy of a road. It's going to have some rocks and some bumps in there. But getting these tiebreaker games and getting these, NFC wins and stuff like this is still big.
It adds up, right? And like that's why I said the early games, like the Niners are going to be like, that's one of the things I always go back to is like their schedule gets way harder. So like these early wins always matter when you can't, when you're losing to the Vikings. Who's your loser of the week, Terrell?
Loser of the week, I have to go to the Buffalo Bills.
Woo.
Because you come off a big win, you started off so hot. Your division is kind of weak and suspect. and you have a chance to get a little gap because, like I said, there's going to be peaks and valleys throughout the season. And we always talk about their weapons right now, and we really see James Cook. And so these are kind of wins when you're that close to winning like that. You need to pull that out because these games, as you keep going along, you're not going to win because the talent's going to ultimately overtake things. You know, Von Miller's still having his legal issues on the defense. So I think the Bills blew an opportunity to get a little kind of leverage in that division. And it would have been an AFC win over a team that we expect to probably make the playoffs.
And that next week Monday night game at New York kind of gets a little intriguing just from the storylines with the Bills there and Aaron Rodgers failing as well there with it. Maybe Jimmy's loser. Jimmy, do you have who's your loser of the week here?
The Jets are, I mean, it's kind of funny because on our 200 episode, Dom, my brother, was watching, who is a Jets fan, and he was trying to give Nico a hard time back. It's like, oh, you guys won by 1 point. You guys beat the Jets. Start your parade. Well, did you guys see the video, the gif of Aaron Rodgers crawling away on the sidelines like he's a lost puppy? Like, no, please don't let the Batman hurt me anymore. Like, that dude needs an ayahuasca trip stat. To New York Jets, Robert Saleh. It sucks that you get scheduled for the London game. I don't think that the NFL players like that. I don't think the organizations like that, but it is unfortunately the reality that we live in. I don't think that they like to play in Brazil early on in the season 2, week 1, but like going out there and to lose and to play like that and to have all of these issues that everybody's bringing up, like this is a media storm and a half, and you live in New York. Your team is based in the biggest media market in the country, and you just went over to the biggest media market in the European continent. You're like, oh shit. Well, I'm gonna have to hear about how bad we suck in an American and a British accent all week until somebody loses next week in London. I think that the Jets are probably in that category of loser of the week because now you're playing for. This could have been a game to decide who's going to finish first in the AFC East. I think that it is still going to be that way, but now it's like, is there going to be even a wild card team that can make it out of this? I picked a wild card team out of the AFC East before the season started. And I don't see that same thing happening now.
Darren, if they win this game, Darren, if the Jets win, imagine the confidence they have for next week's big Monday night game against the Bills. You're feeling like we just knocked off an undefeated squad, and we were in London.
Yeah.
We did it on a comeback fashion. We're pumped up, ready for next week. Now you're like, Aaron Rodgers' ankle's hurting, and all these things.
The Saleh thing for me is hanging over their head too a little bit.
Yeah, Saleh, Devontae Adams, everything. Garrett Wilson, Devontae there. It's crazy.
It's not fine. They're the meme of the dog in the cafe when it's all burning down. It's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. You're about to it's going up in flames. It's all burning down. It's a dumpster fire.
We'll see what they do with Adams. We'll see what they do with Saleh. I think they have a lot of questions on it.
But also, you're not even talking about the biggest thing that they did this offseason, and that's Hassan Riddick, who never even played for them.
That's a good point, too. That's also a loser of the season type of deal. My loser of the week is 2 teams. It's the Niners and the Seahawks. I felt like they just pathetic dropped the ball. I know the Cardinals are decent. We've talked about the Cardinals a little bit. Jimmy, you brought them, but that was a winnable game. And they did not raise up to the occasion for a team that made the Super Bowl what the expectations are. And then the Seahawks, as Terrell, you put it very well with them earlier. It's just great opportunity. Giants just kind of outplayed them. You allow Daniel Jones to do that to you, and their running back to get 14 carries, 127 yards. I mean, that's not gonna get the job done ever.
I won a game. I won a game in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. You got the job done. So those are our losers of the week with it. Just a little update here. Yep, not the end of the game, folks. It's halftime. 6-3 Cowboys, Steelers. So you guys can enjoy that here.
Do we see a touchdown in the game tonight, or is it all field goals?
There's going to be one. Fumble for recovery.
TJ Watt, scoop and score.
Jake Ferguson touchdown. Jake Ferguson.
Terrell, my understanding is you're going to be joining us now mostly every week here on Talkin the Gridiron. I'm excited about that with it.
I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Y'all, I love both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hyped, baby. I'm hyped.
That was the fun part me and Jimmy have had over doing this over the years. I know Jimmy's gonna be missed next week, of course, but usually we do.
I'm here.
You're here next week.
I'm gonna be there from if it's just for like a little bit of a segment from Caesar's Palace, maybe.
Okay.
But I miss so many. I've done that before. I've done it before.
Giants.
I've done it before, but no, I missed so much time last year with all my vacations. I'm not missing anything. And it's just Vegas. It's just
All right.
Vegas.
That's right. You're in Vegas, there, so maybe we'll get a little. I won. What? We'll get
It
a
was
little
going to
action
be
there
tough
from
in the
Jimmy
middle
there.
of the Atlantic Ocean with no Wi-Fi. I'm not going to lie to you. When I was off the coast of Cuba, it was not going to work out last winter, but it will work out this year when I'm just sitting in the Caesars Palace Sportsbook like, I threw down $1,000 on the Ottawa Senators. Why? I don't know.
I wanted action. I needed action. I needed
to feel something. I'm numb. That's because you drank 4 mojitos at the mojito stand outside of Caesars Palace. I don't know the name of it, but if you know, you know. The mojito stand outside of Caesars Palace will get you messed up, but it's a good drink.
Jimmy, that's still my favorite Simpsons episode. He's laid on that couch. I tell you, nice. He opens the draft beer, takes a sip, laid on the couch. He's like, nice Sunday or nice Saturday, get to relax. And Marge is like, it's Wednesday. I got to go to work. He's like, anyway, he's all drinking his beer, thinking it's that time with it.
I can also tell you, and Darren, as a teacher, it is a good thing fall break is coming up and the first quarter is ending. Because the grade books of some of my students deserve a reset. Holy shit.
Well,
also,
we don't get fall breaks out here.
Kids.
That's mountain. That sounds like a mountain thing out there.
Yeah, because it's the POW is about to start to fall, and you need to go down to the mountains, and
101 out here. There's no snow right now, so we're getting out there with it. But gentlemen, Terrell, I'm glad that you're jumping on with us. Hopefully, we get Maxton on here. I kind of reached out to him. Hopefully, you can kind of maybe come on as well. Get a Bengals fan on too. So that'd be nice to get him back on the show here with it. So then we got Jimmy here with it as well. Jimmy, another good episode. I'm kind of glad Terrell's going to be kind of jumping on with us every week. Obviously, we always have good conversations with him throughout the show. So appreciate it. We'll get some good comments hopefully next week as well. Appreciate the guys that were coming in on Twitter as well with it. So Jimmy, have a nice, safe trip out to Vegas.
Yeah, be safe, man. Be safe.
You flying out Thursday or Friday?
Saturday. We're getting
okay.
there Saturday. Saturday will be the first day in Vegas, and then Sunday will be,
all right.
We're leaving Tuesday, which is also my birthday. So I'm turning 27 on Tuesday. We're coming back.
Let's go.
There we go. There we go.
That's kind of also why we're going on the trip, because I was like, why not? Why not?
Yeah, you might as well. And if you feel up to it, Pittsburgh is playing the Raiders at 105 Sunday. So if you do want to go to that game,
expensive ticket. It's I paid $250 for my plane ticket total round trip to and from.
That doesn't sound like an exciting
Raiders
game.
win.
Well, yes, let's go. I like Terrell.
Raiders win.
I could honestly, if the Raiders, if I could get guaranteed, that I'm in the stadium for a Raiders win, maybe
over your Steelers, over the team you hate the most.
I know exactly. I'm going to be sitting there like, the Immaculate Reception was bullshit, right? The Immaculate Reception was bullshit.
As the Bronco fan, shouldn't your biggest rival be like the Raiders or something?
Yeah.
I hate the Steelers.
I hate the Steelers too.
I hate the Steelers.
I hate the Steelers too.
We all hate the Steelers. That's
2005. It goes back to then. We should have been we should have beat them in the AFC Championship. It was held here in Denver. I was at my grandma's house. I remember the smell vividly.
Terrell hates the Steelers fans so much he questioned a grandfather about Mason. That's the hate we have toward the Steelers.
Yeah, I was dogging the Steelers. We made us have a conversation. I was bashing the Steelers, and he's like, "Hold on."
Was this around the time of the helmet incident?
My son plays for them. I mean, my grandson. Oh, really? Then I started thinking, autograph? Well, he does.
Was it around the time of the helmet incident, Terrell? Was it around that time? Had he played at this point?
With the helmet thing, with Garrett? Was that around that time?
The helmet thing hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
I was going to say, you should get him to sign the Steelers.
I had him sign that shit,
I
still understand what's going on. I'm signing my
Mason Rudolph, number 2, Pittsburgh Steelers. This is from when I got hit in the head. Make him write it out because he will forget it, unfortunately, at some point.
I'd have made him say some weird shit.
That is great. That's hilarious.
No, are you gonna?
I can see that with him.
I can see you making him write whatever he said to make Myles Garrett.
Terrell would be able to get it done too. I believe in Terrell. I believe in John Hedges. I believe in Terrell. He would get the job done.
Can you wait 1 second? Can you wait 1 second, Darren?
Yes.
Talk about something with Jimmy real quick.
All right. So Jimmy, you're going to Vegas next week. I'll be at the show with them. I'm glad Terrell's going to be jumping on with. I got to want to reach out to Jordan, see if he can maybe jump on here at the second half of the show as well. Like I said, it's kind of been fun doing the show here throughout the weeks here. Like I said, week 5, kind of a lot of storylines. I am interested where the Adams things goes as we kind of go into next week a little bit. That's going to probably be a big storyline. It sounds like he's going to be traded next week. It sounds like that's where they're going to go with
It'll be by
it. So
Halloween because Halloween is around the trade deadline. He's not going to be there past the trade deadline because I think if it was last season, then maybe they would have some faith that they can figure something out. But no, they don't. They don't got nothing.
Mason Rudolph, granddad. If you're watching the show, you gave me Mason Rudolph autograph card before the head bashing with the helmet, Miles Garrett. There it is right there.
Well, hold on. What was the
Mason
restaurant
Rudolph.
you mentioned? It was like somewhere I've never been. What was it? Golden Corral? Is that where you saw them at?
You
Golden.
never been to a Golden Corral?
I have
before?
never been to
Okay.
the Golden Corral.
You guys don't have Golden Corral up there?
We do have them, but
I
not,
swear to God, I ate at a Golden Corral in Northern California when
Yes,
I had to
we
drive my
have
ass 26 hours all the way up to Humboldt on a bus, on a double-decker bus. Like,
we have.
I know
them.
that
just
there's a
never
Golden
been.
Corral up there.
There is. I just haven't been yet, folks. Forgive me for the Golden
You
Corral.
have
knowledge.
kids. Why don't you go to the Golden Corral?
It's
hacked.
probably at least 80 miles away from me, so I'm probably not headed over there. That's right. That's why I'm not going.
Worth all that.
I'm stick to Papa's Pizza with me.
They got the chocolate fountain, Darren. You can dip the strawberries in the chocolate fountain.
So
Not worth it.
80 miles,
I ain't paying for gas money for that 80 miles. I know that for it.
not
So,
worth 80 miles. No.
gentlemen, that was a good show here. We're about hour 45 in. Terrell, I'm looking forward to next week. Jimmy, we'll get you on next week from Vegas. So, for Terrell, Mason Rudolph, Realism Sports, we got Jimmy
Big
the
time
Italian
storylines,
Stallion. Let's go. We'll get into it. I like that as maybe a segment for this show moving forward. I kind of like that. We can maybe steal some of that too with it. So, for Jimmy, for Terrell, Darren Fatboy Fadeaway. We'll see you guys next week for week 6.
Be
Peace.
safe, Jimmy. Be safe.
Later.